Hi everybody, welcome back. Unit 6, Culture and Commerce. We're gonna focus on culture and e-commerce. First, I'd like to look at the questions with you, focus on the topic. Number 1, look at the photo. Why do you think these women are wearing coils around their necks? Let's take a peek. See those things around their necks? Those are called coils. Why are they using those? Is that even comfortable? Looks pretty. Culture. Yeah, I bet you know a lot of cultural aspects in Indonesia and especially here in Bali. There are a lot of things that are unique to the area we live in, and we want to keep that because that shows how incredibly unique our island is. So think about it. Why do you think that these women use those coils? Number 2, the title of the unit, commerce. Okay, commerce means business. In your opinion, what is the relationship between culture and commerce in tourism? Well, this is interesting because we live in Bali. Proud to live in Bali. Now, culture here in Bali is amazing, and tourism usually is also amazing in this place. I mean, like most people, Westerners, have Bali on their bucket list, okay? Everybody wants to see Bali. But then we also have the other aspect of commerce or e-commerce related to tourism. Let's say here in Bali, the people that come here. But then also we're gonna look at this aspect a little bit since we're still in a pandemic. What is happening right now? What was it before the pandemic and what is it like now? Number 3, in what ways can tourism be helpful in the community? How can it benefit the community? Let's say, how could it benefit or how can it benefit Bali? And in what ways can it be harmful? You guys must know this. Come on, you must know the pros and cons for having a lot of tourism here in our island, right? Now, think about these things, write them down. And in our next meeting, we are going to discuss that. It's going to be an interesting discussion. Yeah. So first off, we're going to start with our listening as usual. Vocabulary always first on the list. And for listening 1, we're going to focus on tourist attraction or human zoo. Come on. Human zoo, am I reading that right? Yeah, you are. Vocabulary. A travel blog is an internet site where people write about their trips. Now, you must have read those. There are also programs about them, like where they just record it, where people are traveling and then, recording everything they're seeing and talking about it. Now, I want you to read and listen to the travel blog about a trip to Thailand. And of course, I want you to notice the bold-faced words because that is the vocabulary for this part of the unit. Yes? So a blog is mostly written more, it's like an article basically, but more written in an informal setting and speaks very close to the audience. So the author, the writer, and the reader are close. Okay. First, we're going to look at the bold-faced words. We've got traditions, tourist attraction, controversy, degrading, make a living, preserve, wrapped, zoo, souvenirs, and we've got the word stretch. Okay, those are the words that we're looking at right now. Okay, so what I would like you to do, since you're reading along, I'd like you to just annotate this. While you're reading and listening, annotate on important parts that you are reading and hearing, okay? Awesome means, let's go.
Travel blog, Northern Thailand. We've had a great time exploring Northern Thailand so far. It's really interesting and there's so much to see. One thing I've learned is that elephants are the national symbol of Thailand. They're very important in Thai history and cultural traditions. Elephants are also a big tourist attraction, so there are many different elephant parks for tourists to visit. We decided to visit one, but we soon found out that there is a lot of controversy about them. Some parks treat the elephants very badly. They're not treated with respect and have to perform degrading tricks for tourists, like playing basketball and dancing. The owners don't really care about the elephants. They just want to make a living by showing the animals to tourists. However, the elephant park we went to is very different. In this place, they're trying to preserve the wild elephant population. It's a large, beautiful park where the elephants can walk around freely. They're so playful. I took this photo of two young elephants walking together with their trunks wrapped around each other, just like two kids walking hand in hand. Going to the park was an amazing experience, much better than seeing elephants in a zoo. I also bought some nice souvenirs, a stuffed elephant toy for my niece, and a carved wooden elephant for my parents. Tomorrow, we're going to see another unusual sight, the village of Nisoy, where the long-necked women of the Padang tribe live. The women wear brass coils to stretch their necks. More on that tomorrow.
Wow, you heard it just now. The women wear the coils to stretch their necks. They have long necks. That's interesting, right? Yeah. Okay, awesome beans. That brings us to the next part. You have seen, heard, and read the block, and now I would like you to match the bold-faced words from the reading to the definitions that you see here. We've got number 1 all the way until 10. So you just put the correct letter in front of it. Let's do number 1 together. A disagreement among people. What is that? A disagreement among people is controversy. Very good. C. So you put the C in front of the 1. Okay, you can do number 2 until 10 by yourself. Go ahead. Great. That means that you just finished the vocabulary. Now we're going to go to the point of review. A journalist reports on the long-necked women of Padang and the tourists who travel to Nai Soy to see them. So here we have a map of Thailand. So cool. Here on top, Myanmar, formerly Burma, Laos, Vietnam, Cambodia, and a lot of sea. And here we have Thailand. So we have here Nai Soy and below here Bangkok. Have you ever been to Thailand? I have never, and I would love to go. Yeah. Okay, so here a journalist reports. So I would like you to listen to an excerpt from the report, and I want you to circle your prediction. Okay, we see here this news report will present the tourist attraction in a positive way, a negative way, or a way that is both positive and negative. So I'd like you to predict that. Predicting means that you don't really know, but by listening to how do people speak or how the person speaks, the intonation and what they say, you can kind of predict whether it's going to be positive, negative, or positive and negative. And I would like you to listen to this and predict that. Here we go.
Each year, around 10,000 tourists visit 3 small villages along the Thai-Myanmar border to see the famous long-necked women. The attraction is a tradition that requires women to stretch their necks by wearing brass coils. Originally from the Padang tribe, the women and their families came from Myanmar to Thailand in the 1980s to escape poverty and war. Their new lives are very different from their lives as farmers in Myanmar. Now they make a living talking with tourists, posing for pictures, and selling handmade souvenirs.
Okay, which one is it gonna be? Please circle A, B, or C. So good. Do you guys remember why it is important to predict? Yeah, it's a part of getting yourself ready, right? Remember, even in reading we do that, and we do it in listening as well. We always have this part of predicting where we want to actually in a reading it would be focusing on the title and then the introduction, but in a listening we focus on the topic and maybe the instruction that we have or the beginning. From there we kind of can predict what it is about and what the purpose is, and that will give us a focus, which is a direction, as in what to read for or what to listen for. So good. And it's necessary because it helps us. That's how we are able to keep up and basically record all the facts, understand fast, but also to remember and have the ability to correlate all the points that are mentioned. Good. Main ideas. Remember main ideas, yeah? General main idea, sub main idea. Remember that if it comes to a text, by looking at the introduction and the title, the topic sentences, you get a general main idea that kind of covers the main idea of the whole text or the whole audio. And when you look at, for example, subheadings or headings or topic sentences, which cover only one paragraph, one body paragraph, that would be a sub main idea. In a listening part, it would just be listening, knowing the topic, listening to the introduction, and know kind of what the main idea is of the whole audio. Now, here we're kind of looking at main points and details. So in this case, we're more focused on the main points that we hear. Normally in a text, every body paragraph has like 2, 3, 4 main points. In the listening section, we can hear the main points also from start to end. But still, you can hear the introduction, the body, and the conclusion. Now you're going to listen to the whole report. You look again at your prediction from the preview section, and I'd like to know, how did your prediction help you understand the report? So are you going to listen for all the positive points, negative points, or both positive and negative? Yeah? And you're going to read the statements, right? The T for true, the F for false, the tradition of the long-necked women. We have numbers 1 until 6. Number 1, 2, 3, and 4, 5, 6. Yeah? Okay, very good. So remember to answer those two by listening to the report. So you could answer that straight away while you're listening.
Critics call it a human zoo. Tour companies consider it a tourist attraction. Whichever the case, the long-necked women of Padang have become an important source of money for several small villages on the border of Thailand and Myanmar. Reporter Mike Danforth has this report.
Welcome to Naisoi. Please buy your ticket here.
Each year, around 10,000 tourists visit 3 small villages along the Thai-Myanmar border to see the famous long-necked women. The attraction is a tradition that requires women to stretch their necks by wearing brass coils. Originally from the Padang tribe, the women and their families came from Myanmar to Thailand in the 1980s to escape poverty and war. Their new lives are very different from their lives as farmers in Myanmar. Now they make a living talking with tourists, posing for pictures, and selling handmade souvenirs. When a Padang girl turns 5, a thick coil of brass is wrapped around her neck. Throughout her life, more coils are added until her neck carries up to 25 brass rings, weighing up to 22 pounds. The coils push up her chin and press down her collarbone, making her neck longer. Pape, a young woman with 20 neck rings, describes her early years of neck stretching.
At first, it was painful, but now it's okay. Now sleeping, eating, working, everything is okay. But I cannot take it off, so this is my life.
It truly is her life. Pape's neck is now so weak that if she takes off the coils, her head will fall forward and she'll stop breathing. Despite the discomfort, Padang women in Thailand continue to wear the coils, even though the tradition has almost disappeared in Myanmar. Why? Because there's money in it. Ma Nong, a graceful woman with 24 neck rings, explains.
In Myanmar, I worked hard growing food. Now I sit and tourists take pictures. In 1 month, I get 70 to $80. It's easy and it's good money for my family. Sometimes I'm tired of tourists always looking, but it's good money.
Each year, as the long-necked women have become more and more popular, the controversy about them has increased. In an outdoor restaurant near Nisoy, tourists discuss whether or not to visit the village. Sandra, a Canadian woman, feels that it's fine to visit.
I don't really see a problem. I mean, this is their tradition. And so, if I go, it's like I'm helping them to preserve it. Spending my money is also helping them. You know, they make a living from tourism, so they need us.
Frederick from Germany feels differently.
Actually, I don't see that we are preserving tradition at all. This tradition has died in Myanmar already. These women are just hurting their bodies to entertain us. It's like paying to go see animals in a zoo. It's degrading.
For now, the future of the long-necked women is easy to predict. As long as there are tourists who will pay to see them, they will continue to wrap their daughters' necks. The controversy continues, with one side seeing the villages as examples of how tourism can save dying traditions, and others criticizing it as harmful and degrading to the Padang women.
Yes, very good. Okay, please answer the first one. How did your prediction help you understand the report? And number 2, right, true or false for number 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and 6. Okay, good. That brings us to the details. You can listen to it one more time, and I want you to complete each statement. You circle the correct answer. We've got number 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5, and it continues to the next page, 6, 7, and 8. Okay, one more time. You will listen to it and answer straight away. You're gonna listen for the details.
Critics call it a human zoo. Tour companies consider it a tourist attraction. Whichever the case, the long-necked women of Padang have become an important source of money for several small villages on the border of Thailand and Myanmar. Reporter Mike Danforth has this report.
Welcome to Nisoy. Please buy your ticket here.
Each year, around 10,000 tourists visit 3 small villages along the Thai-Myanmar border to see the famous long-necked women. The attraction is a tradition that requires women to stretch their necks by wearing brass coils. Originally from the Padang tribe, the women and their families came from Myanmar to Thailand in the 1980s to escape poverty and war. Their new lives are very different from their lives as farmers in Myanmar. Now they make a living talking with tourists, posing for pictures, and selling handmade souvenirs. When a Padang girl turns 5, a thick coil of brass is wrapped around her neck. Throughout her life, more coils are added until her neck carries up to 25 brass rings, weighing up to 22 pounds. The coils push up her chin and press down her collarbone, making her neck longer. Pape, a young woman with 20 neck rings, describes her early years of neck stretching.
At first, it was painful, but now it's okay. Now sleeping, eating, working, everything is okay. But I cannot take it off, so this is my life.
It truly is her life. Pape's neck is now so weak that if she takes off the coils, her head will fall forward and she'll stop breathing. Despite the discomfort, Padang women in Thailand continue to wear the coils, even though the tradition has almost disappeared in Myanmar. Why? Because there's money in it. Ma Nong, a graceful woman with 24 neck rings, explains.
In Myanmar, I worked hard growing food. Now I sit and tourists take pictures. In 1 month, I get $70 to $80. It's easy and it's good money for my family. Sometimes I'm tired of tourists always looking, but it's good money.
Each year, as the long-necked women have become more and more popular, the controversy about them has increased. In an outdoor restaurant near Nisoy, tourists discuss whether or not to visit the village. Sandra, a Canadian woman, feels that it's fine to visit.
I don't really see a problem. I mean, this is their tradition. And so, if I go, it's like I'm helping them to preserve it. Spending my money is also helping them. You know, they make a living from tourism, so they need us.
Frederick from Germany feels differently.
Actually, I don't see that we're preserving tradition at all. This tradition has died in Myanmar already. These women are just hurting their bodies to entertain us. It's like paying to go see animals in a zoo. It's degrading.
For now, the future of the long-necked women is easy to predict. As long as there are tourists who will pay to see them, they will continue to wrap their daughters' necks. The controversy continues, with one side seeing the villages as examples of how tourism can save dying traditions, and others criticizing it as harmful and degrading to the Padang women.
Yes, please answer all the questions. Take your time, you can pause your video. Okay, good. That brings us to making inferences. Remember what that is? Educated guess. Right. Basically, when we make inferences, we're trying to find the underlying meaning of things. So we're kind of looking for facts, combining the facts, and from there come to a conclusion. Reading between the lines, that's what it is. We're going to infer or conclude the emotion from word choice. So when you're saying something, what is the person really saying? What is the emotion behind it? A speaker may use certain words to express his or her feelings indirectly. The listener can infer the speaker's emotions by paying attention to the word choice. For example, the brass coils are beautiful. We can infer from the word beautiful that the speaker has positive feelings about the brass coils. The brass coils are painful. We can infer from the word painful that the speaker has negative feelings about the brass coils. The brass coils are made in the village. The phrase made in the village is not positive, is not negative, so it's neutral. The speaker is not expressing any emotions, just a fact. Now, read and listen to the example. Does Sandra feel positive, negative, or neutral about spending money in nice soy? Let's listen.
And so, if I go, it's like I'm helping them to preserve it. Spending my money is also helping them. You know, they make a living from tourism, so they need us.
Will that be positive, negative, or neutral? Positive, exactly. She uses words such as preserve, helping, and those words have positive meaning. So we can conclude or infer that she has positive feelings about it. She's okay with it. Yeah, so from the word choice, we can know whether the person has positive, negative, or neutral feelings about something. Now I'm gonna let you listen to 2 excerpts, and I want you to be able to predict whether the feelings are positive, negative, or neutral. Let's go.
Originally from the Padang tribe, the women and their families came from Myanmar to Thailand in the 1980s to escape poverty and war. Their new lives are very different from their lives as farmers in Myanmar. Now they make a living talking with tourists, posing for pictures, and selling handmade souvenirs.
Answer the question.
These women are just hurting their bodies to entertain us. It's like paying to go see animals in a zoo. It's degrading.
Very good. Answer that question. Okay, now I want you to think about what information helped you find the answer. So in excerpt 1 and in excerpt 2, what was it or what word made you come to the right answer? Can you write that down for me? So next time when we meet each other, you can tell me. Yeah, so just write it behind here, the answer choices. What word or what part it was that made you come to the conclusion of what the right answer is. Great. That brings us to the last part, expressing opinions. Very important. It is important that you write it down here. You can just write it in your book. That is totally fine. Either here or up here. That's good as well. Make sure you write it down so once we have our Zoom meeting, it's easy for you to respond to it. You might forget. Okay, there are 2 statements. I want to know whether you agree or disagree. And of course, you need to give a reason. Yeah, we always use peel. Very good. P-E-E-L. Point, explanation, example, and linking it back. That's how we do it, right? Number 1. I would like to visit the women of the Padang tribe. Yes or no? Yes. Why? No. Why? 2. The Padang women are helped by the tourism in their village. Agree. Why? Disagree. Why? Okay, write it down so you're ready when we get together in our Zoom meeting to discuss this. Yeah, very good. Awesome, awesome, awesome. Wow, I think there's a lot that we can say about this topic. It's a very interesting topic. At least I would like to talk about this more with you. Okay, that brings us to the end of our lesson today. The first thing that we did was talk a little bit about the topic culture and commerce, and we are focusing a lot on e-commerce, but also bringing this back home to our island, Bali, and also our current situation in our pandemic right now. First off, we looked at our vocabulary, matching the words, bold-faced words with the definitions while listening and reading. We did a preview, like, can I predict something about what I'm about to listen to by looking at topic and also instructions and an introduction. Then we went over main ideas, main points, and details that we heard in our audio, and inferring emotions from the words that people choose. What emotion are they communicating, and being able to predict that. And last but not least, expressing your opinion using the correct format of peel: point or opinion, explanation, example, and linking it back. So good. You guys are amazing. I'm going to see you really soon. Take care. God bless you. Bye.